thank you to our friends, supporters, petitioners, and the members of the media for being here today. We welcome you not merely as our observers, but as partners in ensuring that matters of public importance are clearly understood, fairly reported, and responsibly discussed. Your presence affirms that what we are about to address is not a private concern, but one that directly touches on the integrity of our constitutional processes. Today, we have among us are the petitioners and the supporters appear before you to formally present our motion for leave of court to intervene together with our petition in intervention filed before the Honorable Supreme Court yesterday in support of the petitions for certiorari and prohibition with urgent prayer for issuance of PRO filed by First Attorney Esraelito Pitorion et al. Versus House of Representatives, and the one filed by our dearest Vice President Sara Duterte. Let me be just clear, this is not about personalities, this is definitely not about politics, but this is about upholding the Constitution. Our intervention is anchored on a simple but fundamental premise. When constitutional boundaries are placed in question, silence is not neutrality, it is acquiescence. And as officers of the court, we cannot acquiesce when the processes designed to protect accountability risk being conducted in a manner that may itself depart from constitutional limits. The purpose of today's press conference is threefold. First, to inform the public through you of the legal basis of our intervention and the reason why we filed it. Second, to clarify that our motion for leave is not an inclusion but a necessary procedural step. We are not original parties to the case, but we seek to assist the court by presenting issues in our considered perspective and view have not been fully addressed yet are crucial to the proper resolution of the controversy. And third, to underscore that this petition and intervention is ultimately an appeal to protect the Constitution. We ask the Supreme Court to reaffirm the limits imposed by the Constitution in the exercise of impeachment powers, the limits that exist not only to protect any individual, but to preserve the rule of law itself. We have come before you today not claiming certainty in all things, but firm in one conviction, that constitutional processes must remain faithful to constitutional design. When procedure becomes unclear, when safeguards appear to be tested, and when power risks outspacing restraint, it becomes the duty of the lawyers and indeed of the citizens to speak. Through this intervention, we place our trust to the Honorable Supreme Court to provide clarity, guidance, and ultimately to ensure that the rule of law prevails. To proceed, let me introduce to you the members of the panel who are among the petitioners in the intervention and the supporters of the intervention as well. My name is Jeriel C. Rondes Layo. I am joined by Attorney Maher P. Senti, also Dato' Nasif Malawani Al-Haj from the Muslim Alliance Protect Saramax. We also have former Mayor of Lanao Sur, Ali M. Abdul Salam. We also have Mr. Alan Balani from One Bangsa. We also have Dr. Ronald Adama, the former Commissioner of JED, a former Congressman during the 10th Congress, now representing as the Chairman for the Volunteers for Inday for President of Sustainable Development. We also have Mr. Elizer Lumpan, Secretary General of One Bangsa, also from the Muslim Alliance, Mr. Omar Abdul Aziz. Sorry. All right. So thank you, and we will now proceed to the opening statements. First, we have Dr. Adama.
morning to everyone. First, I would like to introduce further myself. I am Dr. Ronald Adamat, former Czech Commissioner, former Congressman of the 10th Congress of the Philippines, and Chairman of the BIPSD, Volunteers for Inday for President for Sustainable Development, and co-convener of the DDS Sarapol Confederation. We, the intervenors in the Supreme Court case GR number E-05546 filed by Attorney Israelito Torion et al. And GR number E-05567 filed by no less than our very own Vice President Sara Duterte are here today to address the grave concerns regarding the actions of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice in the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. We believe the committee has overstepped its bounds, abused its discretionary and violated, or abused its discretion and violated the Constitution. Specifically, we take issue with, number one, the committee's mini trial, which usurps the Senate's role as the sole impeachment court in the guise of conducting hearings. Number two, issuing subpoenas for evidence not attached to the complaint, amounting to a fishing expedition, effectively aiding and siding with the complainants. Number three, denying Vice President Duterte equal protection under the law, as seen in the different treatment of the impeachment case against President Marcos Jr. Number four, violating due process, undermining the separation of powers. This is not just procedural issues. It's a blatant attempt to undermine Vice President Duterte's credibility and block her path to 2020. Notice how the committee ignores President Marcos Jr.'s 4 billion pesos plus confidential funds a year and zeroes in on BP Sara's 125 billion confidential funds, which COA already cleared. This selective justice exposes the committee's true intent: political persecution, not accountability. We then urge the Supreme Court to sit through this charade and uphold the Constitution. The people deserve accountability, not politically motivated witch hunts just to pin down Vice President Sara Duterte. Thank you very much.
For the second statement, let me now call on our Secretary General of the One Bangsa. We have Mr. Eliezer Luntan.
Thank you. Daghang salamat, Attorney. Sa lahat po ng nandito at sa mga kasama na movers and entrepreneurs, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. And on behalf of our President and Chairman of the One Bangsamoro Movement, with us here, Mr. Maulana Alan Balani, I am here to present, at least read to you kung ano po ang dahilan ng pag-intervene ng mga officers ng One Bangsamoro Movement. The statement goes, April 10, 2026, One Bangsamoro Movement or One Bangsa. Interveners urge Supreme Court to hold constitutionally infirm impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte. The other side movants, intervenors, officers, members, and professionals associated with the One Bangsamoro movement, together with young lawyers and citizens from Mindanao and beyond, respectfully announce that we have filed before the Supreme Court a motion for leave of court to intervene and to admit the attached petition and intervention in the pending impeachment-related cases involving the proceedings against Vice President Sara Z. Duterte, docketed GR number E05546, Toyon et al., and of course, the Vice President's petition E05667. We make one point clear at the outset. We are intervening in our individual capacities as Filipino citizens and taxpayers, and our participation is personal, civic, and constitutional. We intervene because, to us, this case is no longer about one public official alone. As our petition and intervention states, it has become a constitutional controversy over the limits of the impeachment power, the integrity of the House's threshold review, the requirement of informed House participation before the referral, the validity of the committee's ruling on sufficiency, the permissible use of subpoenas as a fishing expedition, and the duty of the Supreme Court to arrest grave abuse before a constitutionally defective process hardens into precedent. We believe in our intervention is proper under Rule 19 of the Rules of Court because we have a direct legal interest in the matter of litigation, in the success of the principal petition, and in preventing a precedent that would dilute the constitutional safeguards governing impeachments. As citizens and taxpayers, we are directly affected with constitutional process all altered, selectively applied, or transformed into instruments of arbitrary government actions. As lawyers, professionals, and many of us also come before the court with a personal stake in the preservation of constitutional structure, due process, and the rule of law. Our intervention is not intended to delay the case. It is intended to assist the court. We support the principal petition and adopt its core constitutional challenge. But we also present an additional and distinct public interest perspective that the challenge proceedings of the House Committee on Justice, particularly its handling and referral of the complaints, its ruling on sufficiency in form, substance, and grounds, and in the subsequent approval of the broad subpoenas, threatened to convert the constitutional power to impeach into an open-ended instrument of selective investigation and political harassment. In our petition and intervention, we ask the Honorable Court to resolve issues that go to the heart of constitutional order. We ask whether the House Committee on Justice committed grave abuse of discretion in handling the referral of the 2026 impeachment complaints, including compliance with the constitutionally mandated first mode sequence, timelines, and the requirement that House members be meaningfully informed before referral. We ask whether the committee greatly abused its discretion in declaring the Sabalia and Cabrera complaints sufficient in form and substance, despite what we submit are fatal defects in its endorsements, serial filing, and insufficiency of their pleaded ultimate facts and attachments. We also ask the committee greatly abused its discretion in declaring those complaints sufficient in grounds on 18 March 2026, despite the absence
and our view of sufficiency, clear and convincing evidence in the pleadings and relevant documents then on record. Relatedly, we ask whether the committee thereafter acted arbitrarily in moving to hearing proper and approving compulsory process in order to search for proof that the complaints and their supporting materials should already have contained. A central part of our intervention concerns the subpoena proceedings of March 25, 2026. We have specifically raised the issue of whether those proceedings and the subpoenas issued pursuant to them constitute an impermissible fishing expedition designed to cure the facial infirmities of the complaints rather than examine evidence supporting adequately pleaded and already sufficient charges. That issue is not incidental in our petition. It is one of our principal constitutional objections. We have likewise placed before the court the issue of selective and arbitrary treatment. In our petition, we ask whether the committee's treatment of the Duterte's complaint, as compared with other impeachment complaints dismissed for lack of ultimate facts and nexus, including the impeachment complaints previously filed against President Marcos Jr., violates the requirement of uniform application of constitutional standards, the rule of law, and guarantee against arbitrary government action. We further ask the court to consider whether the public statement of a committee leader that we have the numbers is itself evidence of prejudgment, partially and in reduction of a constitutional gatekeeping process into political arithmetic. To us, that question is not rhetorical. It goes directly to whether the committee remained constitutional gatekeeper or had already become a political facilitator of a predetermined result. We filed because we believe these are not abstract political disagreements. They are live constitutional questions involving Article 11, the Due Process Clause, and the Supreme Court's expanded power of judicial review under Article 8, Section 1. Our position, as reflected in our petition, is simple. Impeachment is not about the Constitution, and the House's exclusive power to initiate impeachment is a power bounded by constitutional sequence, constitutional evidence, constitutional fairness, and constitutional restraint. Coming as we do from Mindanao, from the Bangsamoro, and from the communities where public confidence is constitutional order and equal treatment matters deeply, we believe our voice has singular value. We know from life experience that when constitutional processes are bent, we know from the life experience and when constitutional processes are bent from expediency, selective treatment, or unbound coercive power, the injury is not limited to the respondent or one case. It weakens public trust in institutions themselves. That is why we intervene. We therefore respectfully ask the public to see this filing for what it is, not a partisan maneuver, but a lawful invocation of a procedural remedy so that the Supreme Court may resolve grave constitutional questions with the fullest legal illumination possible. After all, the Constitution must govern impeachment, not the other way around. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emerson. Thank you also, Dr. Anama. All right, so in addition to the statements presented before you, I'd like to highlight that as young lawyers, as officers of the court, our duty is to protect and uphold the Constitution. So in addition, we raised an important question, whether allowing the proceedings before the House Committee on Justice, despite all the defects raised in all the petitions and in the intervention filed yesterday, will it reshape the constitutional architecture of impeachment, weakens its safeguards, and expose both public officials and the public itself to a process that is no longer bound by clear and enforceable limits? This is not about shielding anyone from accountability. This is about ensuring that accountability itself is exercised within the bounds of the Constitution. Because if the Constitution can be set aside in moments of political urgency and public sentiments, then it ceases to be the supreme law and becomes merely optional. That is why we intervene. Definitely not to delay the process, but to ensure that the process remains constitutional. Thank you very much, and we are now welcoming any questions